Welcome to the Sisterhood Collective podcast, where we empower women to break barriers, overcome limiting beliefs, and achieve true success. I'm your host, Laurie, entrepreneur and founder of 5 successful businesses. Join me as I share proven strategies, interview inspirational leaders, and provide behind-the-scenes insights to help you level up in your business, career, and in life. Because together, we can get further faster. Okay, let's dive in. So what do you do when you're just not happy? Your life isn't what you thought. You're not where you're expected. You're tired, you're bored, you're unfulfilled. Let me tell you this. There's a whole new world waiting for you, and you don't even know about it, but you have the opportunity and the power to take hold of this. And I can tell you this because that's part of my story. In my particular case, all I knew is that the current circumstances of my life weren't serving me. I wasn't happy, I wasn't motivated, and I actually knew something needed to change. I needed something different. But if you don't push through resistance or any sort of resistance, if something's just not hard and it's too easy, you're unlikely to really set out to make that change. So I tell you this, in order for change to occur, you need to set an action or a goal, whatever you want to call it, that isn't going to be necessarily easy to do. It's something you need to make the effort to do. It's like when you're lying there in bed and you say to yourself, I want to get fit and I need to start training. And it's Sunday night, you set your alarm and Monday morning comes around and you have plans to go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, but you hit the snooze button because it's raining and it's cold. And you decide, maybe I can start tomorrow, or maybe I can start next week. That's the easy thing to do, is just push that goal back. The resistance, the change, the hard part of all of this is to push the doona off, get out of bed, put your shoes on, walk up in the rain or drive or whatever it is and go do that workout. Or call a friend and say, I need you to meet me at the gym at 6 a.m. so that I know that I'm going to be there. And then get yourself into that routine so that you can then start to move towards making that change and that goal. And to be honest, I've changed my story in my life quite a few times. I've hit that point where I'm like, this isn't for me. Actually, quite a few more times where I was really, really unhappy with the circumstances that I had created, the choices that I had made, and it certainly wasn't serving me. So I had to make that change. And I've adjusted to try and, find my North Star. I've learnt the hard way. I've failed. I've had many, many setbacks. I've almost completely been broke. But the only person that can fix this was me. It wasn't calling mum and dad for a loan. It wasn't asking for friends for support, although they give that to you. It's short term. No one's coming to save you. The only one that can really change this course is you. But how do you go from that moment of, I'm not happy, I'm not where I want to be, something isn't right? And I think getting clarity of what you actually want is important. And you may not figure that out in a day. Just know that could take time. So today's episode it's quite a raw episode. I think I kind of ambushed the girls on one of our business meetings, and we've got a bit of a raw and very vulnerable conversation. It's real about certainly my experience and also Lauren and Tegan's experience of being in that position where you're not happy with life. It's not where you expected or want to be. And I guess it's just a conversation of us trying to figure out, well, how did we change that? How did we change that to get onto the path that we are today? Those moments when you sit there and you're like, what am I doing? I'm so unhappy. This is not what I want to be doing.
How did I get here?
And how the hell do I get out of it?
Yeah.
I've had those moments. And in fact, ironically, probably 5 or 6 times, I keep getting back to that space where I'm like, no, this is the direction I need to go. And then I go and travel down this pathway. I'm like, what the hell? I've just got back to this almost the same spot, but a completely different environment. But I'm like, this is also not what I want to be doing. And how did I get here? And what am I doing? And then I go, well, what is it that I do want? And so the first time it happened for me was in the army. And I remember because it was here in Brisbane, and I was sitting there at my computer going, I had some mundane task to do at the time. I'm like, what am I doing? I was unhappy. And I don't know if I've ever really been depressed, if you want to call it that or whatever, but I was really unhappy and dissatisfied. Anyway, and I just sat there and I'm like, what am I doing? Because I've been in the army for so long now, it's dictating to me what I want to do. And I had this idea that I wanted to go and travel because I knew that travel was my happy place. And as you girls know, it still is my happy place. But I said, well, I applied to go on leave for 3 months and the army said no. I'm like, what? I've given you this much time and I've been on 4 deployments and you're still saying, no, I can't take a few months off just to go on a holiday, of which I deserve. And they said no. And so you can apply twice. And if you get knocked back the second time, obviously it's a no. So I applied again and they still said no. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done being told what I can and can't do. Not that I minded ever before, but it was only because at this point I felt like I'm actually no longer making decisions for me. The only decisions I can make are based off if it serves you. And I don't even know if it's, what that's serving. So I put my discharge in against my father's advice. He was not happy. And then just went off to live my own pathway. But that was the first time I just sat there and went, this isn't what I wanted to be doing. And what I wanted to be doing was I liked the work that I was doing in the military, but when I was deployed. So actually doing, the job that I had trained for so long for. And so obviously that's kind of when I ended up moving to Iraq for a few years and doing that. And so then I ask you, have you been in a position where you've sat there and gone, like there has to be moments where you're not happy and you're sitting there going, this is not cool.
Yeah, there's always times like that. And I think, like you said, Loz, you become a bit like it's the job you wanted to do, but you're shackled by like the restraints of it. And I think that's when most people break out either to an entrepreneurial type thing or to work on their own because they know what brings them joy, but they choose not to be dictated by someone else telling them when they can and can't find that joy. So I think that's the beauty about, taking that leap on your own is putting your own purpose and passion first before what gets dictated to you, for sure.
Have you been there? Have you been in a position where you've sat there and gone, or you've got yourself into such a hole where you're like, I'm not doing this anymore, like something's got to change. But then again, you might not even know how to change or how to get out of that hole. And I've got another story from when that happened for me. But yeah, have you ever been there?
Or you get like a squirrel, like I start chasing down different paths, like until I hope that the result's going to be different and it's not. You go down different rabbit holes and you're like, yeah, that's not it either. Like circle back. Like you said, it's like you circle back to the start all the time.
What about you, Junior?
There's lots of things that I could say about myself, but I was just writing something before. And if you don't know who you are or what your values are, or you're so comfortable in doing what you're doing, you actually forget what your passions are and what you like. You've got dreams and things that you're like, oh, I'd like to be doing this. But if you then sometimes try something else or you do your squirrel thing, but you end up in the same situation because then your decisions are being made not for your North Star or something like that. So that's the problem. So you have to go back, and then all the things that come at you need to align with what you want to do. And then I think the path might swiggle a little bit, but you might end up going towards where you want to go to.
So here's a question for you. Like you were in Malta for what, 10 years?
8.
So 8 years in Malta. Right. And yeah, it's amazing. You're in Europe, you're in a beautiful new country, you're bringing up your 2 beautiful girls. Your husband worked away a lot, right? So you're basically by yourself. You had to find all your new friends. You had me come and visit you quite a few times, and your parents came across as well. And life was good, but not all the time. But at some point, I remember having a conversation with you where you're like, I'm not happy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. And just with you saying that, it actually stems back further than that, because I left Australia to find myself and I ended up in another position that I didn't envisage, and it got comfortable, and I took a job, working on super yachts, and you're working with billionaires and doing things. And I got to the stage where I was like literally carrying someone's vomit, that it's just like, I don't want to be doing this anymore. Like, how did I end up in a position that I'm cleaning up people's bodily functions, like not to help them, they're just being dicks, that just that they'll go out another room, and when they come back in, they'll know that it will be clean. So I wasn't even serving anybody by helping them that, you know, they might have needed it. So that, I think, was maybe a really big turning point for me. However, the thing that happened then was I got pregnant. So I got to leave anyway, and the decision was taken out of my hands, but I still kept doing it. Other people who do the same thing get a better gig out of it, but the women, a lot of them that have to do these sorts of things, it's degrading, and a lot of us are, you know, educated and want to do something else, but it's that thing of traveling the world and doing things. It's like you can't have everything. It's, you know, you've got to put up with this to do something else. But they got to a point where I was just like, no more. I couldn't do it. And luckily for me, I guess, I fell pregnant. But then I ended up in the same situation. I moved somewhere for somebody else and didn't have anybody around me again. And then you're stuck. Like, I have people to support and people that need me, and you give up your own things. Two major things. You're just like, how did I end up here? And now I'm back in Australia. And again, I'm like, how did I end up here? Scrounging my way out.
And it's the same even with business though, isn't it? Like you start a business or an entrepreneur, or you're doing something where you are following your passion, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, I used to love doing this, and now I'm like, the thought of it is just like, I don't want to bar of it anymore. Like, and it's finding that sometimes you've got to find that passion again, or make the change of, you know, to bring back that joy. Like, you once loved doing that work or that job or chasing that dream. Like, when did that dream fizzle or become not fun and exciting anymore?
I think you outgrow things. Like, once you know enough, my dad always said to me, don't stay in a job longer than 3 years, because when you start a job, you're scared, you don't know how to do anything, and then suddenly it becomes boring because you know how to do it and you become comfortable. But you could have stayed in a job for 3 years, or you could have stayed for 10 years, and you would have had exactly the same memories and the same stuff to have done, and you've lost out on 7 years of your life. So I think you get bored and you get annoyed and you become resentful.
I feel like that is the definition of that sunk cost fallacy, which is where you've poured so much either money, time, or even emotions into a specific situation already that you're not willing to necessarily leave. Because by walking away from the situation, you're like, but I've given so much already. If I walk away from it, you know, you question, have I wasted all that time? And that's that sunk cost fallacy, which I find actually interesting, but it's so true. It's the same. It's literally something we do in business. Like you just said, Tegan, like you're sitting there going, I just put all this effort into the business, but it's basically sucked the life out of me. I am working 60 hours a week. I no longer have any friends because I'm not doing anything outside of this business, or my friends come from this business, but are they really my friends? And you start questioning all this thing. And then it's like, is this what life's about, that I've just got to hustle my entire life? So do I sell the business? Do I invest in a mentor to try and get some help? Do I walk away and close up shop and start fresh? And then it's the same with relationships. I've just spent 10 years with this guy. I've had a couple of children with him. I love him, but we're moving apart. Like we're living separate lives. But is this what my life's going to look like for the rest? I want someone that's here with me that I can create memories with and to love me and blah, 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 blah. Or, you know, might only be 2 years that you've invested time and effort into it. But it's such a big thing.
How do you change? Is the hardest, like, oh, make a leap of faith or open that door. You're comfortable because you've got, you know, where your pay is coming from, you know where you're living, you know everything, and it's the unknown. And if someone would tell you across the grass is always greener, if you're going to have this, that, you'd pack your bags, you'd be gone. If you knew you had this amazing life through that door and you could have everything you possibly could want, you wouldn't stay. You wouldn't care if someone told you sell the business, you're going to open up something else next year and it's just going to take off. It's like the fortune thing, but you've still got to put in the work though as well. You just got to do it and have enough courage to do it.
I think the point there is that you can change and you can create your own new reality, right? It's just taking that first step, and it's taking a risk really. For a lot of people, it's like, do I throw this all away to start fresh? And you're putting a lot on the line to do it. It's like you moving back to Australia. You've just left all the friends that you had created over the last 8 years, taking, the little one out of school and then coming back to start up. You're closer to your family. That's good. But, friends are all off doing their own thing. You've got to create a whole life again.
Yeah. And it's as you get older, if you were like 18 or 20, like you feel like you can do whatever you want. And if you could like quit a job after 6 months, you're not bothered. Now it's just, we're scared. As you get older, it doesn't seem to be possible, which is ridiculous. I don't know why that is.
Well, it is a little bit, isn't it? Because the amount of resources that are out there, not to mention free, everything, there's so much free stuff out there. Even to the point with counseling and things like that, just talking to somebody. But I mean, you've got your friends and family for that. But even if you didn't want to use them, there is so much free resources out there for you to get help, to start fresh, to learn a new trade or a new skill, to develop your own course, etc. Like there is so much, and I think that's opportunity. There's so much opportunity out there, but something holds us back. And that, I feel a little bit lame even saying this, but it really comes back to your values, right? Attitudes, behaviors, the decisions we make come from something that we were influenced by in our life, like where we've grown up. So like for me, for example, I was always told what to do because I was a child and, mum and dad tell you what to do. Then I joined the army. The army tells you what to do. So that moment when I got to that point where I'm like, you won't let me make my own decision. I finally found that strength to go, no, hang on, no more. Like I actually want to decide where my life is going to go and how I'm going to live it and when I'm allowed to take a holiday. That was breaking a little bit of a pattern there because, all my attitude and behavior previously was you do as you're told, which I believe in. You still do as you're told, right? Yes, mum and dad, still doing as I'm told. But I can make my own decisions and I can actually create my own future. And I am taking a big risk from having a very secure job with good income and good future opportunities as well. But I won't be able to live that life that I want to live, which is changed. It's now changed as I've grown up. Have I grown up? Yeah. as I grow up.
Work in progress.
I could hold a sign going work in progress, and forever, by the way. Yeah. So then that takes us back to really understanding your values and where you've come from and why you are thinking the way that you are. Like it's the influences and even that matrix that we live in where society is telling us how we need to think, where we need to go and what's, like back in the day, now we sound old. Okay, I sound old. Back in the day, it was like the family was, mum and dad and 2 kids. That is no longer the norm, right? But it took a while for that to transition and to change. What's the norm now?
That there is no norm.
There is no norm. I guess we've got the independence and we've got the freedom a little bit to make choices and make decisions and live how we want to live. And my question is, are you doing what you want to be doing or at least heading in the right direction to where you want to be?
I have a question then. If it comes down to values and once you've learned about them and all the different types of ones there are and what values you have, but what about if you want to have different values because you might not have done something because you might not have had the support or confidence or you want to go travel or some sort of value or family or something like that. Say you've never had a family or do whatever, like a close family. If that's something that's important to you, how do you then change so that becomes a value of yours? So then that's how it can lead your life. That's where you want to go. Because if you just stick to the values you grew up with, then that could be why you're stuck where you are.
It's 100% why you're stuck where you are. So you've actually got to create the new pathway. Like, I mean, I'm no psychologist and I don't know. I can only say, my opinion, I suppose. But when you say the word, I come from a small family. But as you girls know, my family is obviously I love my family, but my family is my friends. I value my friends so, so much. I make the effort to catch up with them, whether they are overseas, in a different state, or around the corner. Like quality time is my love language. And so family is important to me, but it's not the old, we're related by blood. It's literally, I create my own family and invest the time and effort into this new value of family. Like I make that happen. And then that becomes important to me.
And it's the same like with clients in our gym, like they become connected because they share the similar value of like putting their health as a priority. So and when you want to create those new values, you seek out those people that share, I wish that was one of my values. How do I get that way? I know I need to associate and spend time with people who share common values with me. So you kind of hunt those groups who share common values, and that's how you breed that for yourself. Is like Laurie said, it's a friendship group, or it's a gym group, or maybe it's business mentoring or membership group. You seek out those people that share those values that you want.
But that new value, whatever that value happens to be, that stems from something in your upbringing. Like you've had a negative experience or a positive experience that has created this idea now for you that you want this value. It's like, you don't want that value. It literally is a value. Like it is important to you. You're just not living it. And I think if you've identified that that's a value and it's important to me, you need to change your behavior and your attitude towards that value. And I think that's the whole point. You're not living to your values. And that's why you actually have to sit there and identify what your values are. And now when you actually identify it and go, well, hang on, I'm not living to my values. Exactly. That's what we say. Go find out what your values are so that you can be your authentic self. You can make decisions based on your values, which is your authentic self. And then if you're not living your authentic self and family is your one of your key values, then you start changing your behavior and taking those daily steps or daily changes towards living that value and moving closer and closer towards living your best life, whatever that looks like to you.
And it's almost like your goals, isn't it? Every decision you make, you're like, oh, does this lead me closer to my goal? And it'll be the same with your values. Like, if I did this, does this align with my values, or am I just doing this because that's what I feel like doing, but it's not serving me?
It makes decision making easier for someone. I've learned that once you know these sort of values or goals, it makes everything a little bit easier, and knowing that you're heading in the right direction makes you happier.
This is why we kind of like, if you look at it, since you've, come into this group of the Sisterhood Collective here for you two, right? We are now focusing on every quarter. Now, when we focus on the Sisterhood Collective itself as a business, we revisit our quarterly plans because we want to reassess our vision. We want to reassess that we're heading in the right direction. We want to use the information and data we've collected from our audience and our customer and client, and then say, well, are we giving them what they need? And if they're not, we're going to have to pivot, adjust, and change that next quarter. It's important, right? So we're identifying gaps. And then when we do our mastermind, you see that we sit there and do a self-assessment on all these areas of our lives, and your values will come into play here. And you sit there and go, well, hang on. This area of my life, maybe it's finance, maybe it's your friendships and your family, whatever it is, but I'm not doing anything in that space whatsoever. And that's actually important to me, but you might not identify it because we're all too busy. So this is where you identify these gaps and where you're not actually, living that right path, and then create the next quarter or the next pathway towards, filling those gaps and filling those holes. I just so clearly, I think because it's in the next suburb to where I'm literally talking to you from right now, I can feel myself sitting in that chair. I know exactly the office that I was in. I know exactly who was in the office with me. And I'm looking at the computer, and it was for about 3 to 5 days. I don't know, it was that week anyway, that I was going to work every day with no gusto, no motivation. And you guys know I'm quite lively, but I had nothing to give. I wasn't even interested in what I was doing at that particular moment. I'm like following the bouncing ball. I'm like, probably on autopilot driving to work. I'm not doing anything that is, lighting my fire. Anyway, I just remember it. And it was a triggering moment to go, you've got to make a change. But it's happened to me quite a few times for me to work out what my true purpose is. But I guess the good thing is at least I'm having a go at these different things. I think sometimes I get to that point, though, where I've probably invested way too much money or time into something before I've gone, oh, this isn't you living your best life, little Loza. You need to make a change. But I think we all do it. The point is I have made the change, but it's finding that courage to do it, right? And And then that brought us to that sunk cost fallacy, which is so true as well.
And it is, like you said, it is the time and money we've invested, but it's also what people think as well. Like, that's a huge thing. Like, a lot of people won't take the leap because they're like, oh my God, what if I fail? Or mum and dad said this is ridiculous, or my partner's not supportive of me, or my friends are just going to be like, what the, like, there's a lot of that stuck on us as well.
All right. So then what's the lesson here? Because I can highlight 3 times each of us have felt that. For you, Tegan, and I don't want to talk for you, but based on what you've said previously, was when you were in a marriage that you weren't happy. There was nothing necessarily wrong, but you were like, this isn't serving me. Like, this is not where I want to be, and this is not where I envisaged my life. And for you, Lauren, you've had it on the boat, and also, in Malta. I had at that moment when I was like, I got to get out of the military, and I've had it a few other times, and I guess I can save those stories for another day. What's the lesson here? What's that thing that gives you the courage? How do you get out of a situation like that? Like, that's what people want to know. How do we do it?
I guess sometimes the decision's taken out of your hands, but that could be anything. You could lose the job that you hated and you'd still be upset. When you should be upset, it's a blessing. Or your partner could leave you, and then there's the other side that you've got to make the decision. But I don't know, maybe get your ducks in a row if you like to get things ready, but you've got to start something.
I guess it's doing a self-assessment, isn't it? It's either working out what your values are, or and you don't even have to use that word. What's important to you? What matters to you? And writing that down, like just brain dumping everything, right? And going, what matters to me right now? Who and what is important to me? And then close your eyes and go, am I living where I want to be living? Am I living with who I want to be living with? Am I in the job? Am I driving the car that I want to be driving? So really understanding, are you existing and living out, what you should be doing? And if you're not, I guess on the other piece of paper going, all right, in 3 to 5 years' time, or even next year, however far you want to look out, because we don't want to make it too overwhelming. It's like, what does it look like? What would be ideal for me? What would I love to be doing? And why can't you dream, actually? Why can't you put some crazy stuff on a piece of paper and like start aiming for it? And I guess once you do that and you look at that crazy dream that's sitting there, you can go, well, I guess if I want to move to another country, maybe I need to sell this business. Maybe I need to pack up my house. Maybe I need to sell the house. Maybe I need to rent it out. But there's all these little steps that you can go, well, maybe I need to talk to a realtor. What do I do before I talk to a realtor? Probably check in with my husband and make sure he's okay with that. I don't know. You know what I mean? But there's all these little steps before that big dream or that big change that you could take to get there, which makes it less overwhelming and more manageable and more, I guess you can see that you can reach it if you take just that one little step, right?
And I think that's what I love about the members room, like how we've rebranded as the Empowerment Hub, because making those decisions, it's not anyone else. No one else is going to hold your hand or tell you what to do or show you the guiding light. That kind of self-discovery when you are on your own and you're, pretty much at rock bottom going, what am I doing here? That's all you. That is so internal that, whether you know your values or you know what the other side looks like, you just know that right there is not where you want to be. Anywhere is better than there. It's huge. It's so all on you, like at that point.
You mean Prince Charming's not going to rock up and help me?
Sorry, babe. No white horse here.
Damn you, white horse.
It needs support as well, which that's what's good about the members room too, is that there's other people that are in the same type of situation and you can lean on people. And I think that's what I was missing. I had friends, but I didn't have people I could lean on to maybe bounce some ideas off and try and come to, a path that I could take.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having a little discussion with me, because I've gone a little bit ad hoc here, and these two girls that are with me, Lauren and Tegan, didn't realize this was turning into a podcast episode, but I did.
And we don't even have wine, and it's not a Friday night. How did this happen?
Well, thank you for joining me on a Wednesday at lunchtime. Yeah, so it's really interesting, right? Like if you're not in the position of where you want to be. Firstly, I don't know if we've all been there, but I certainly have been there on numerous occasions. But it's only you that's going to get you out of it. Clearly, no Prince Charming's rocking up on his white horse to help us. But there is so much out there to help you over the hurdle. And I guess first thing is, just brain dump some ideas of what's missing in your life or what matters to you. And then, maybe where do you see yourself? And what you might not be able to see clearly right now. It could be foggy. And I think that's also okay, but just maybe write down what matters to you. Like that's a starting step there. Of course, if you wanted to check out the members room, you can. We'll put the link in the show notes here, but you can also go to our website, www.sisterhoodcollective.com. And we also have the personal values. I mean, if you come into the members room, you're going to start there. You're going to do a self-assessment and start there as well. That's something you could do. That wasn't the purpose of this podcast, by the way, was to try and tell you all about the members room. It was more about me just waking up at 2:00 this morning and going, oh God, I have been in this space of where I 100% didn't want to be there. And how did I get out of it? And I thought there's quite a few people in that position right now. And I've been talking to a lot of them lately. I thought maybe some people would be interested in hearing a little bit about our stories there and how we changed the path. So in order to make change, we need to fight some sort of resistance. It needs to be a goal that we set. That is a hard thing to achieve. I think getting clarity of what you actually want is really important. So I did that by figuring two things out. And this is what I suggest for you. I guess really work out or understand what or why you want to change something. And then the second component to that is how do you change it? And let's just be fair. If you use Google or Chat GPT or anything like that, you can type in a goal in Google and go, how do I change my life course? If I type that into Google, it's going to put about 5 to 10 steps there of clear your mindset, do some new healthy habits, go and exercise, et cetera, et cetera. It gives me a few action items of what I literally can do. So I guess once you actually figure out the why you want to change something or what it is specifically that you want to change, the how is the next part. And like I said, the very, very first step of that how is probably the easy part. If you need any help with this, please DM me. We have plenty of free resources on the website, sisterhoodcollective.com. We also do this with everyone that's in our members room. And that's the whole reason we call it the Empowerment Hub. So I encourage you to, check out our website, go to the members room and see if that's something you might be interested in. It's the room where we are helping you live the life that you want. I believe you have the power to change your life through the actions you take every single day. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you again soon. Thank you for joining us on the Sisterhood Collective podcast. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes. And if you want to be the first to hear what is new at Sisterhood Collective, you can find out more on our Instagram, or you can sign up to receive our weekly newsletter and let the good times continue to roll. Now it's time to turn your clear vision into bold action. I'm Laurie Drummond, your host, and until next time, keep striving to live that best life. Take care, and we'll see you soon.